wait, when were you in Canada? And I said, like, in between these years. And he's like, then you're 30? Just like, and then,
welcome to Pop Culture Unboxing, where we're going to talk about bears.
He's going right into it.
bears just jumped. Bears.
Cocaine and bears.
Cocaine
Bees?
and bears. Bees? Cocaine bees?
Bees?
Bees? Not the bees.
Not the bees.
All right. I guess we're not. Okay.
See, I don't get. You do that every time we mention
don't
bees,
understand.
and I don't get the joke. Can you explain it?
Arrested Development? The funniest joke in the show?
Oh, I thought it was about the movie where
I'll
the guy
show you
ends up on
later.
the cannibal island and they sacrifice him and like they drop. It was the Nicolas Cage.
That's what he's referencing.
That's what I was referencing.
Oh.
But I don't.
I'll show you later.
Yeah, I don't remember that joke. Zach, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I decided not to quit.
You were here last. Wait,
No, he wasn't.
What was last episode?
Last episode was us with Rob.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Because it wasn't Wednesday. We recorded. We recorded like a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I decided that I shouldn't quit. I should.
Your
stay.
solo career just didn't work out?
No, it's not that. It's more.
He realized he needs us more than we need him. Or wait,
My solo career hasn't been launched yet because if I had a solo career, it would just be me solo. It would just emphasize solo.
Like Han Solo, but
Han Solo.
It's like solo but lonelier.
how do you get lonelier than solo?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's
I don't know, he
that's
didn't
the
live a very
question
lonely
Huh?
Did he really live like a lonely life though?
Not really. He had a girlfriend, and then he had a bunch of trooper friends, and then he had a hair friend.
And then he had another girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then he had a kid.
The normal life.
Then he had a kid.
And then he got
And
a
then he got
girlfriend
killed by
again.
his kid.
Yeah. The life
Moral
of a
of the
true
story.
hero.
Spoilers for Star Wars Episode 7.
We're
We're
not-
not talking about the Star Wars movies again.
No more. We're done.
No, Ryan, you have an itinerary. Some would call them show notes.
I do.
But I'm fancier than that.
You're like the pictures of Pooh Bear with like where it's like normal Pooh Bear, then it's him in a
Yep.
suit.
Xi Jinping.
Yeah. This episode cannot be aired in China.
Whatever.
Oh, speaking of something really funny, real quick, I just a little bit of a side note.
Ryan
Did you-
looked up. He was so annoyed
Did
that you
you-
interrupted his transition.
I didn't mean to, but
No, go ahead,
If,
Zach.
if you're playing games online and you're actually playing against people in China and you're losing, just put Tiananmen Square in the chat.
Yep.
It'll kick them. I
you ever-
found that
Have
it's
you
the
ever seen the
funniest thing in the
copy
world.
paste thing? It's a block of text that's in Chinese, and it basically brings up all the forbidden knowledge all in one paragraph. So whenever you're losing to someone from China in an online game, you can just paste that in chat a couple times, and the Great Firewall will kick them.
Sheesh. I was gonna say, yeah, like I'm sure I'm behind on that, but like I just saw it for the first time like last week, and like I couldn't wait to tell you guys. Like I thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh hey, we're losing, and they were like Tiananmen Square, like 1967, whichever year it was.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 seconds later, it was like boop, and they
Yep.
like kicked all of them.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah,
Man,
China's censorship
China's
is nuts.
cutthroat, man.
Yeah.
With their censorship.
Region lock China in every game, please.
You want me to talk about my itinerary?
No,
No? Okay.
No.
What do you want to talk about then? What do you feel like talking about? I know
we
you're-
didn't announce ourselves.
Do you want to go ahead and start that off?
Matt,
I'm Ryan.
Jessica.
Jessica, we've already done this joke.
Oh, you know what? I
You've
screwed up.
done exactly that joke because as soon as you said Jessica, I almost said Beal. When I went to
You
say that, I'm like,
realized.
wait, we've had this
Deja
before.
vu. No, I forgot.
I thought you did the Jessica thing last episode, so I was just like,
No,
he
no,
does
no,
listen
No,
to
that
Zach has done that before.
That was me 2 episodes ago. The joke was going to be that I quit, Zach quit, and now you have a new
That's right.
Jessica.
right. Oh, and
but
it's
I
still
already
the
said
same.
I was Zach. So
That's right. Why Jessica? Why is that the name that comes
it was
to
just
mind?
the first. I was actually thinking of Rick and Morty at the time, and I was thinking of the telepathy guy where he's like, you are Jessica's feet, because that's what Morty's thinking of at the time.
yeah.
And it's like the funniest thing in the world. Because like the first time I listened to it, I didn't pick up on it. And the second time I was like, oh, he's reading his mind. And that's what he was thinking of at the time. which was funny. But
All right, so itinerary. We're gonna go ahead and go into the show notes.
Iterany.
WandaVision. We just had, but
WandaVision
we were not
finished.
able to talk about it the last episode because we had Rob on and we were trying to like focus on stuff he would want to talk about.
Yep.
As good hosts of a show,
Which
would
we
do.
are.
Yes.
Right, Zach?
Yes.
Okay.
So WandaVision finished. Did you watched it? You said
Yep.
right. What did you think of it?
I didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a good take. What about you?
I thought
Zach?
I thought it was lacking a lot of good visuals because I missed it.
That's a good joke.
It certainly wasn't lacking visuals.
They just weren't very good visuals.
Yeah. What did you think, Ryan?
I should have said it was lacking vision.
I was.
Yeah.
There
We
I
had
go.
two visions in this one. And
Spoilers.
Hey,
Spoilers for WandaVision in case you didn't
I,
assume that
So-
already.
WandaVision left me very. WandaVision put a weird taste in my mouth because it's also what I said when I asked the questions like, do you guys think the Evan Peters thing is going to affect the future of the Spider-Man 3? And I'll get into more detail what I think by that. But just the fact that, like, in a way, if you think about it, so Disney bought Fox, right?
Yep.
And they bought that so they could get the X-Men, and they spent like a.
I don't think it was just to get the X-Men.
Well, yeah, but they spent like $3 million to make a boner joke in it because that's who Evan Peters' character actually is. It's just a guy. I don't know what his first name was. Mike.
It started
Boner?
with an R.
Oh, was it?
That's all I remember, though.
I thought
It started with
I
an
thought it
R.
was Mike
Raging?
Boner. No, but
No. It was Rick or...
yeah, Rick Boner.
No, Rick would have been too obvious. Because then you just go to Dick Boner.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what his name was, but I know. But that was the joke. Is his last name was just Boner.
He was just a nobody.
Yeah, he was
Everyone
just a nobody.
was theorizing that he was this
and
alternate universe Quicksilver, and nope, he's just a dude.
I am kind of glad that we finally got them to call her the Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
And we got the Scarlet Witch outfit,
Yeah.
which looks really cool. Her new like actual superhero outfit looks pretty awesome.
I did see pictures of that.
But, like, the mystery was cooler before I knew what the answer was.
I found out that there was a lot of stuff that was changed because they ran out of time with COVID. So like that
Oh,
senior
really?
Scratchy, the bunny,
Yeah.
was supposed to be a bigger character, but they
Oh,
had,
yeah, they did just drop that, didn't they?
they had a whole thing with like Senior Scratchy was gonna at one point the boys, her children were gonna try to help fight something. They were gonna go into Agatha's basement and like get that book, the evil book.
the
Yes,
Marvel
evil books.
Necronomicon.
Yeah, pretty much like that's what it is. But it's like it's their evil witch spell book.
Yeah.
But and Senior Scratchy was gonna turn into a demon, so that would have been like, oh, that probably would have been.
But like, it just, it was unsatisfying. It was just, I remember thinking it as I watched it and on reflection and listening to other people's opinions on it. I agree with a lot of it. It went from a really interesting idea of like, oh, this mystery of like what's happening. Like these are all sitcoms. Like these are fun. The beginning was fun. And then once we knew what the mystery was, it was like the wind was out of the sails. And then the last episode was just a generic superhero beat 'em up.
And I was
It was a bunch of bright flashing lights and flying around.
I was very disappointed with the fact that they kept calling in like supposedly there was going to be this friend, and then even the guy that plays Vision, the actor
Paul Bettany.
he went on he had an interview on I think was the Tonight Show, and he said that there's still one more surprise that they're waiting to reveal, and he said, and I've also got a chance to work with an actor that I've always wanted to work with, and we're like, well, who could that be?
Oh, I see what he was doing.
And you
now.
think because like you were thinking like, well, maybe it could still be Doctor Strange, but like who would you brought in? And everyone was still stuck on that train. Is like, it's probably Fantastic Four. We're gonna get like Dr. Reed or something from but that's not what they did.
No.
They just
No. Do you not understand what he was saying?
He gets to work with himself.
Yeah. That's what he meant.
I get that, but I'm just saying like they kept like playing off that there was gonna be a character that he's always wished to play.
I
You know what I mean?
remember. I sat through the second half of that finale waiting to see Doctor Strange or something. And then it just, you don't.
There was a cool thing at the end, since you didn't see it. It ends like Wanda runs away from that town and like hides. She's hiding somewhere in the mountains, but she's like, it shows her like walking around, but she's now in touch with her Scarlet Witch abilities. So she's doing like what Doctor Strange could do. Like he leave his body, and while he would let his body rest and sleep, he could read books and stuff because he astral projected himself out of his body. But he couldn't. He could only leave his body, and his body had to stay still. what we saw in that at the end is Wanda, as they said, the Scarlet Witch is more powerful than Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
She's walking around making tea, but in the back, she's astral projecting herself, reading the book, learning how to use the evil spells to try to find her children.
Unless they change it from the comics, just opening the book makes you go nuts.
Yeah,
It makes you evil.
Which
as
I think,
a rule.
I think that's what they're not gonna. I think what's gonna happen.
But like,
is the fact that she's cast in Doctor Strange. I think that she's gonna go evil from the book, and Doctor Strange.
But that's what I mean. But so then that's another issue with the show. Is the show is all about her getting rid of her madness and turning good. All for them to make a movie where she goes mad and has to turn good again. So it's like, so WandaVision was pointless.
So I think what's going to happen is she's going to try, because you know how they play it off, you hear her kids, they say like mom.
Yeah.
I think what she's going to go mad by trying to bring back like her kids. So she's going to break the universe and create the multiverse of madness situation that's going to, Doctor Strange is going to get involved to try to fix it. Yeah. And that's where potentially Peter Parker gets involved, because that's how the Spider-Man, that's the thing is like, there's all these, everything got kind of transfers.
Yeah.
It's weird what they're doing. And it's hard to, this is one where you can't, I used to be able to tell you that I could kind of take a guess on what Marvel was going to do in the MCU. Now they're holding their cards so close to their chest. I can't even take a guess.
I bet you they don't know what they're going to do.
I think that's what it is. I think that they've ran out of what it is. And Ben Shapiro actually made this comment because remember I said I sent a text message to you. It was like the moment I realized me and Ben Shapiro have one thing in common, and it's what we have a massive amount of knowledge on DC comics, on DC superheroes.
Yeah, I remember you sending that to me.
I saw he was looking at the trailers for the Batman, and he said he's like, I'm starting to see now that Endgame's over. I think what we're going to see now is the roles are going to switch. We're not going to see, like, Marvel people are not going to be as excited for Marvel stuff, but DC's going to have its chance because now DC's doing a new plan. They're not really, unless the Snyder Cut does what a lot of people think it's going to do, it's going to revive the DCEU. But unless that's true, that's not true. DC decided they're going to go off their own. They're just going to make films off their popular characters.
Which, I mean,
they're just going to open it up to more characters other than Superman and Batman.
I want to see another Shazam. That film was great.
After movies like Shazam and Joker, where they were pretty standalone, great movies.
Yeah. Well, also you realize we can make lots of money on a low budget superhero film.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think a big thing is somebody had mentioned this before, and after thinking about it, I think they were completely correct. Is DC did it so backwards, where they were like, okay, here's Man of Steel, and then I think right from Man of Steel they jumped right into Batman versus Superman.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh hey, by the way, this is going to be the first time where you meet all these random characters, and it's like, I don't even care about, like, I don't even know the characters yet. I don't know how they should interact. I don't care how they interact.
Yeah.
And because they did it backwards, it put them on a bad foot to start.
Well, but for Batman, at least, it was fine because we just got the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's Batman's in the same boat as Spider-Man. Everyone knows his origin story. You don't need to retell it again.
Yeah,
we know Superman's basically because we had just gotten the Superman film like a couple of years before.
Yeah, but then when you have characters that are more open to their interpretation, like Aquaman or Wonder Woman or Cyborg, maybe then you need a little bit more to explain them.
Which is funny because you said about Justice League not introducing all these characters. That's what
it's a bunch of characters I don't know how they should
people
act.
have seen the Snyder Cut now. It's been out, like, we're going to see it, but a lot of people have reviewed it. And a lot of people are saying, not only does this fix the film, now, granted, it's not, you couldn't go see Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters. That was one caveat I was told is you can't see it, like, this would not be good in theaters, but as a streaming service thing, the way it was created, then it works.
Yeah.
But they say in the new cut, where Cyborg didn't do anything, he has a whole arc. Like,
that's good.
Snyder had a whole plan.
You built a character,
Yeah, he built a whole plan. Flash, he does something. We get more backstory of Flash. So
do we actually see him going through time?
So I don't know, but one of the things that I saw was like they basically Batman doesn't have as much of a backstory. Like there's scenes with Batman, but nothing gets added. But all the stuff that it turns out that Joss Whedon cut was all of the stuff that tells you about who Flash is and who Aquaman is and who Cyborg is. So the characters that they had no films for, they cut. And they kept the ones that everyone already was
Totally
known.
Backwards.
Yeah.
It's so strange. But apparently this is so much better. And a lot of people are saying that a lot of people say it's going to that it left people in the ability to say like they could read.
It's going to be competing against the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Or no.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier is next weekend. Isn't it?
Is it?
No, I guess it is this
It
weekend.
is this weekend. It's
the
the
Snyder Cut comes
19th.
out tomorrow or
8th.
today for the listeners.
Yeah.
Or if you know,
It probably is already out. Don't all the streaming things released at like 3 a.m.
midnight, I think.
Usually
midnight Pacific, usually, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah,
3 a.m.
3 a.m. here.
3 a.m. East. I guess that
Eastern.
I'm
Yeah.
presupposing that all of our listeners are on the East Coast.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, on East Coast time, 3 a.m. is when the most people are not online. So when they turn down their
Yeah.
services, they don't have to disrupt that many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to take it back. Trying to
Take it back.
take
it back now,
be a more
y'all.
cool. So remember how I made the comment that Evan Peters' character, who played Quicksilver in the original, or not the original X-Men, but the Fox X-Men films that the newer, like younger versions of these characters.
I was gonna say no when you asked us if we remembered, but then your sentence just kept going, and I realized that if I said no, it wouldn't make sense. Mm-hmm. But I just want to let you know that
Okay.
your run-on sentence saved you from a joke.
Good.
Your expense.
So anyway, Evan Peters,
Congratulations.
we thought he was going to play Quicksilver, so we thought that they're pulling those X-Men characters in.
Over, yeah.
And as it turns out, that wasn't the case. So I was listening to a YouTube video, and I read in the comment on the YouTube video. It's like, do you think this is going to change the fact that we were getting notifications that the next Spider-Man 3 had cast who was the guy who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2?
I always forget his name.
The guy who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, they cast him in Spider-Man 3
I thought you were
as
going to make a
Dr.
comment
Ock.
about that. About me not knowing an actor's name.
No, because I feel like we've had this discussion before.
We've had.
Because you forgot stuff, and I acknowledged it. I was like, oh, finally, something he's not good at. But also, I'm willing to let you have a weakness because you're tired, and I fed you.
Even if I was awake, I wouldn't know the
gave
actor's
you,
name.
See, I gave you
it starts with an
gave you an
A.
out.
I know that.
I must have missed that week because the only time that I don't think you've known something is the only time I knew something, which was like a really weird role reversal. Because
I think it
usually
was
the guy that shows
last
up
week because
late.
I think I remember making a joke about it.
I don't know, man. I remember.
But you did feed us. For those of you who don't know, I think it's
St.
today.
Patty's Day.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And Ryan's the only one who wore green.
Yep, and I fed them a traditional Irish meal, shepherd's pie with actual sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
More
almost said,
specifically, sheep meat.
I almost said goat because I
Is
was
it
like sheep.
shepherd's
I went
pie
goat.
because is it shepherd's pie because it's got lamb and then mashed potatoes on top to make it look like wool?
Yes.
Do you know that, or are you just saying yes because you like that idea?
I don't know. Do I?
Controversy.
I don't know. But yeah, I knew
And
that.
you're upset that you didn't think of that idea.
No,
at
I knew
first.
that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
So in
I
the
can
comments,
tell.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
I can read you like a book.
No, you can't.
wait, hold on.
And
hold
now
on.
that you're planning to die on this hill, I know for sure that I'm right.
So
I don't know. Look it up. You have a computer in front of you.
I will.
So,
Google it.
I do have a question while you do that. Is this episode that we are actually recording gonna go out? Mm-hmm. All right,
Last
let me,
one did.
Let me do a shameless plug.
What
Tell
do
us what you think in the comments below.
Oh, I thought you were like saying, like, are we actually going to publish this episode? Like, we publish every episode. Every episode
Every
you've
episode.
been on has been
Oh,
published. Like,
no.
have you been thinking we've been faking this whole time?
I just thought you guys were like doing a charity thing for me.
Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. Where was I? Oh, well, so they hired the guy to play Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2 in Spider-Man 3, and then they hired the guy who played Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 in this new Spider-Man 3 film.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, wow, that must mean like, the multiverse thing is going to happen. Do you think that the possibility is that that was just created as hype, and they are cast as characters, but they're not those characters from the alternate universes.
Well, there's a couple things that could be, because the MCU is actually very, very good about throwing out diversions. A big thing with I think it was not Endgame, but the one before it, Infinity War, was that they had scenes that were purposefully not in the movie.
Yes.
Because they didn't want people to know where they were going.
They do that with all the Marvel films.
And they started doing that. And it's very possible that they cast him like that so that it kind of throws you off the scent. But still, my favorite theory is the one that I think I told you guys before, where it's like, I want Spider-Man 3 to just be Tom Holland, like, going around taking out petty crime. And, like, every time he's, like, in the middle of something, behind him, the multiverse is, like, colliding.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, you're just watching him take out petty crime, and it's just, like, something with the different Spider-Men from the different universes behind him. And then at the very end, he turns around and, like, sees all three of them. So it's just one of those things where it's like the whole movie, you're just, like, waiting for something to happen.
That
and it just sets up
cool.
another one.
That would be pretty cool. Well, the other reason that the commenter gave another example was like, well, we have J. Jonah Jameson cast by his original actor from the original Spider-Man films. So could it be it's all a diversion? It's not all actually happening. So that's where, and the only thing that I say that there's a chance that it's all, that this is just, that like this is Marvel trying to trick us and it actually is going to happen, is the fact that we had that Morbius movie that everyone forgot was coming out.
Did it come out?
Not yet, but it's coming out. But
Wait, I remember over a year ago us talking about it, and us talking about it coming out that summer. Did it get delayed?
Yeah, because of COVID.
Okay.
But the Morbius movie shows.
Do you want to know about Shepherd's Pie?
Yes.
Do you know what it was originally called?
No.
It used to be called the term cottage pie, around 1791.
Can you say this on an Irish accent? Can you tell me this in an Irish accent?
Oh, you laddie.
No, Irish. So the thing with accents is the best way to do them is to have a phrase that you say a couple times to get the accent into your head.
So get a phrase going.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No.
Say, I like Guinness, and if you don't, you suck.
But the term shepherd's pie didn't appear until 1854. And then, traditionally made with lamb, but also made with pretty much any red meat because it was created as a way to use up any older meat that you had to get rid of.
Just like haggis.
Then splash a bunch of mashed potatoes around it, chuck it in an oven, and you'll get there. The French name, I'm going to butcher this because I don't know any French. Hashi Parmentier.
When you said hashi, I was like, that sounds like a Japanese.
It's like,
I don't know.
Tricked me.
Hashi. The issue is that the English word hash is borrowed from it, so it must be pronounced similar to hash.
Yeah.
So
is it sad that the first thing I thought of was the way you cook it is having your older brother in an explosion, and then it just creates Big Hero 6. Tadashi was his older brother.
Ooh, too soon. Parmentier is Antoine Auguste Parmentier, after whom many potato dishes were named, as he was instrumental in the promotion of the potato in France in the 18th century.
Fascinating.
It is weird to think that somebody had to go to
That's
France
your
and be
pop
like,
culture fact of the day.
Yeah. Shepherd pop culture from the 1800s.
Shepherd pop culture from the 1850s.
These pictures look really good.
Really?
I was going to say, it is kind of weird to think about it, that somebody had to go
This one
like
doesn't have much
to
potatoes in
Italy
it, though.
and be like, or to, I'm sorry, to France and was like, hey, by the way, here's this
Potatoes.
thing you should eat. Like,
I remember reading this. I remember hearing about that at one point. That the French knew nothing about potatoes, and then this dude brought them some, and they were wild about it. And meanwhile, the Irish were like, "You're just now figuring this out."
So potatoes were just always a thing that was only in Ireland until it was exported out?
Ireland and maybe England. Yeah, this guy, best remembered as a vocal promoter of the potato as a food source for humans in France and throughout Egypt.
Wow.
it's a big difference.
Interesting. His many other contributions to nutrition and health, including establishing the first mandatory smallpox vaccination campaign under Napoleon, like working with Napoleon,
Jesus.
beginning in 1805, and pioneering the extraction of sugar from sugar beets. Parmentier also founded a school of bread making and studied methods of conserving food, including refrigeration.
That's fat. Wow, that's
And
fascinating.
he lived a nice long life.
That's a lot.
Born August 1737, died December 1813.
Yeah, he did a lot with his life.
76 years.
What are we doing?
Known for popularizing the potato in France.
It's amazing how when you look at all of the things that our society has, there's only a handful of people that actually produced most of what we enjoy today. Like, and those people are super productive, and like we don't realize like just how much it's like somebody actually figured something out, and then the rest of us applied it.
Yeah,
and it's like it's so crazy to think like that.
That's the kind of person you want to be, whose name is in history books forever. That being said, I could never have told you the name Parmentier before now.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's the part of life though. You get to learn new things, and now
what could
that's
we export to Europe that they don't have that we could convince them they need? And on top of that, that if they decide they don't want it, we can find a way to force them to want it, similar to how the British used opium in China.
Oh, there were so many jokes that I could make that don't age well.
Pine trees.
What?
Pine trees. Okay, I like where you're going with this. Why?
Well, they don't have pine trees over there, so we could export pine trees.
Do they grow there?
No.
Maybe an invasive species.
Yeah. You know, what about hard maple, like from the Great Lakes regions?
Those aren't pine trees, though.
No.
know
Okay,
what?
wait. What is it with you and pine trees?
I'm saying pine trees because they look pretty.
Spelling.
You put some pine.
Maple tree does too.
Maple. What? Can you repeat that? I feel
Maple
like I had
trees do too.
I feel like I had a stroke.
Let's see.
Only one of them poops out pancake topping.
Is it poop or is it bleed?
It's more bleed.
Like Batman once said, "Do you bleed?" Do you think that's what someone asked to the tree? They're like,
Did
"Do
you know it takes
bleed?"
like 40 gallons of sap to make a gallon of syrup?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Very inefficient.
Yeah, but it's so good.
I had
Oh,
a
yeah.
Canadian.
Very worth it.
I had a Canada obsession.
Oh, that's right. You tried to convince everyone that you were from Canada
Yeah,
for a long time.
yeah, it was fun.
It took a while for me to realize that you were lying
went
about
to,
that.
I feel like I told a story. Did I tell this story on the show
You also
already?
claimed that you had dual citizenship.
I did. It got too deep.
Why?
It was one of those things that went way too deep, and I couldn't get out of it. So here's
we were pretty far into our friendship before I realized all of it was a lie.
I was gonna say, is it like
so. Here's what I think happened.
Wait, hold on. What were you about to say, Zach?
I was gonna say, is it like that guy that tried to rob a house? He's like, no, I'm just looking at it, and then like 2
just
weeks
wanted a
later,
better
he's
view.
like, I'm in too deep. I'm buying this house. There was a Vine for that. It was probably the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
No. So what happened was, so I went to Canada.
Yeah.
I went up there for like a little bit, just for like to visit. Fell in love with the place. So I came.
Red flag.
I thought it was a cool place. I was 18. I could drink.
2 red flags.
Okay, whatever. I came back, right? And then, I told people I was in college, right? And I told people that I went there. I was up there for a good portion of the time. So weirdly, out of how it went, because I hung out with stoner people and like dumb stoner drunk people, because that's what you do in college.
Yep.
That story went from Ryan went there to Ryan lived there. So I was like,
Why?
So because they were all drunk stoned, they didn't listen. So when they were stoned, they half listened.
So everyone else
They heard
thought
Ryan
that.
and
then
Canada.
somehow in the story,
that's funny.
it kept spreading, and then they were using it. Like my friends were using it to get them dates with people. They were like, I know a person who lives in Canada. He can tell you everything about Canada. so it kept going.
So it became a dating scheme.
So
Where it's like, hey guys,
so
you
here's
need a
what happened.
wingman? I'm Canadian.
So how I find out about it is after a while, like people in my, because I went to a tech school, so it wasn't like we had massive campus. Like everyone knew who I was because I lived on our campus. So like every so often, people would like make Canadian jokes at me and stuff like that. I was like, that's weird. Why? Like someone would be like, do you say A all the time? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't know why you're asking me that. And so later I find out my buddy's just like, hey man, there's some girls that want us to come over to their party tonight. like, and they invited us and our Canadian friend. I'm like, who's our Canadian? And they're just like, it's you. I'm like, I'm not Canadian. They're like, but you told us you were. I was like, no, you idiots. I went to Canada. I was on vacation there. I was there for like a month. That's it.
So all I can think of is the Samuel Elliott come home to breaking the grand illusion. Like as they watch you.
So they were like, can you, so it kept in, they convinced me, like, listen, if we fake it, we can, we'll get to meet these women, meet these girls, because we're college kids. That's what it is.
Because that's how every good relationship starts.
That's what I said. It's just like, so we're going to start relationships on lies. But okay. So I was like, I was with someone. I was dating someone already. So I was like, well, I have no reason to go. But if it'll help my friends, I'll go. I'll go hang out. So I tell the girl I'm with at the time, this is the story. And she immediately says, this is going to fail. I agreed. Didn't fail.
So you're just accessory to lying about your...
So that's, well, so how does it expand outside of college to new people?
Yeah, to Uber.
So how it gets to there is we go to the party and now people are asking me about what it was like living in Canada. I'm making stuff up as I go. Like, I'm constantly telling fake stories. I think at one point I told a story, like, me and my best friend, like, we hung out at bars and stuff when we were like, 18 or 16 or whatever. Like, and we were friends at bars. So there's a bar up in Toronto that if you go to, they all know who I am. I'm just winging it, telling stories like, well, why'd you live up there? I was like, oh, my dad went up there. And I was like, I decided to go with him. Meanwhile, there are people in this room that know that I also live with my grandparents for a portion of time. So if they just thought about it for a second, they're like, timing's not adding up here. But kept it going. We're all talking. They're all laughing. Everyone's drunk and enjoying themselves. And then it came down to, it was like, I decided to live up there for a year. And then someone's asked, like, well, don't you have to get a citizenship to live there? And I'm like, not knowing any better. I'm like, yeah, I have a dual citizenship.
Wow.
So the story makes
great response, but
in the end, well, that's also not true, as I found out.
Yeah.
But it basically, in the end, it made me more popular. So
it just kept
all right,
going.
so popularity tips with Ryan: be Canadian.
But that's the thing, is like all the stories I made up. It was at that moment I realized, like, man, I should write like movies and stuff. I could write some good stuff. But it made me more popular. So I said, okay, well, this will eventually fade away. These people will graduate, and I'll graduate. It'll be behind me, gone. And it was for a good period of time. Then I went to Uber, and there are people that knew that story that also worked at Uber. So I'm in a situation where I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then I had to keep the stories going at Uber. And then I was best friends with Matt. I was like, well, I can't ever tell the truth. I can't get it out. Meanwhile, I had found out all the people that had known the story, because there's only two people from PTI that had ended up there.
Yeah.
And they left. Uber. I didn't know. But I was so scared that the stories were going to get out. It was going to like a domino effect. I kept this thing going. It became so exhausting that at one point I told Matt a story just because he asked me something about Canada. He asked me, he's like, wait a minute. Because Matt's just like, wait. When were you in Canada? And I said, like, in between these years. And he's like, then you're 30? And it hit me. I was like,
I don't remember this conversation.
I'm pretty sure it was you I had the conversation with.
That sounds like something I would say. I think I do remember saying that last bit, but
we were talking, and
So
I said a year out. And you remembered, he's like, well, you said you were in like 7th or 8th grade or whatever I said. And I was just like, yeah. He's like, so you're like 30 years old? I'm like, okay, now it's time. This is getting bad. This is getting too much. So
I remember you telling a lot of stories about you even had an accent you could pull out.
yes, I went out of my way to pretend. I went out of my way to learn a Canadian accent, so that I could just say like, well, I was up there for so long, I just kind of got it. Now I'm having trouble getting back into my American accent. This is so.
And I remember there being something about Wisconsin.
Yeah, I said Wisconsin people sound a lot like them.
That's right.
But it's that turned out to be more true. So that's the thing is like in the thing of me telling
Throw out random accusations they just happen to be correct.
That's the weird thing is like some of the stories I'd be telling, I didn't remember ever reading them. But it's like those things like sometimes you pass stories, but you never think about it when you take in the information. Mm-hmm. And I would like tell stories that then later I look up and it would be true. Like it happened to somebody else. It just wasn't me.
Oh man!
Whoa.
Well, that's what you.
I'm making reality.
I know people. I've known people from both Canada and Wisconsin. So when you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that checks out. They do have similar accents.
That's
funny.
Yeah, but the part that got real bad is I was trying. I finally got sick of it. So like I was starting to just not tell people it. Because I was like, I'm popular as is. I don't like people like me. I don't need to. Like I tried to separate myself from it and not tell more people.
So we got another Ryan opinion here is that if you become too popular, stop being Canadian.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, can you define popular?
I don't want to tell. See, this is the bad.
I know why you don't want to tell this story.
I never want to tell this story.
Feel free to leave out the details.
Yeah, I don't like telling this story because it always makes me feel like a terrible. Like I'm not really that good of a guy. I'm trying to be a nice guy. It's just it all went out of. It's one of those things like you know how like a lie just keeps snowballing. This one snowballed.
Yes, there's many stories about that specific thing.
You lied for what, a quarter of your life about where you were from?
You guys remember
for no
Larry Boy
reason?
and the Rumor Weed, the old VeggieTales one?
Wait, what?
No.
The Rumor Weed,
I didn't
where
watch
it's the weed that
VeggieTales.
keeps growing, and Larry Boy has the okay.
Oh, I thought it was the lie weed.
No, there was a different. What was the lie? Oh no, the lie was the pebble thing from outer space. They kept getting bigger. There was one about lying. We gotta
VeggieTales
show
is
you
awesome.
this.
Right there's a moment when I think I'm in a white room and all this is fake.
Go on about your life of lies.
But that's what it was. It was a snowball, and finally I had left the snowball go around the hill, and then somehow the snowball caught up to me later down the hill. That's what happened. So, but the thing, the problem was, is like I was finally more confident in myself too. The other thing that I think didn't help is when I went to college, I didn't know anybody. I'm making friends as I go, and I'm like trying to figure out. I'm trying to forget who I was in high school, and I'm trying to be different as an adult. And then, that's when and there were many factors that didn't make sense, and now I look back on like those were stupid, but they were funny. It's funny stuff. The thing is, it's so bad. It's a stupid thing that I did, but it was so funny to talk about now because it's so funny.
Oh yeah, because it's
none of it meant no harm. None of it would hurt anybody. It's just one of those weird stories. Like Ryan, why did you just stop?
And I love how you brought but it's like it's not even that. It's like you aimed the snowball at where you would be because you got there. And you didn't interact with these guys at all, but just because they worked at the same company, you just started telling people around you.
No, I interacted with them.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I interacted with them a lot over it.
Did they ever ask about Canada?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how it even started is I was hoping they forgot, and they brought it up.
That was
around
the
other
first thing. It's
people
why
I worked with. And so then I'm stuck.
Oh man.
I was starting to wish to go on more missions by myself because I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want more lies.
Funny. Wait, hold on. Did you create your own position at your company in order to avoid?
So it's like I hired fake. It's just cardboard cutouts of employees. Like
none of these guys think I'm from Canada. It's great.
And you can understand. Ryan is so competent that in order to maintain a lie from college that has no bearing, and at any moment he could have just been like, "Nah, guys, that was a joke." Like he decided to instead create his own position.
That's the problem. I realized it farther after I told Matt the truth. I realized later I was like, "Oh my god, I could have ended this so much sooner."
There were
so many times.
It's like,
I couldn't let it go.
Like you got it to the point where it was like you didn't want to say anything, but like there was nobody around who cared. You could have just said, "Oh, I'm not actually from Canada," and all the people who already believed it are long gone. So it doesn't matter.
I know
funny.
that's the problem. Well, the thing, and that's what I laugh about the whole situation.
How did I react to I think I probably just laughed it off. Like,
Well, we'll get.
goof.
How about we'll get
You
there.
goof.
We'll get there because I'm going to get to how with me telling Matt how
oh God.
when
I
told
don't remember this.
because me telling Matt was like I was nervous at that point because the reason when Matt and I brought because Matt didn't even ask me about it. I just brought it up in conversation.
So wait, before you go on this, I have no recollection of this, which means that it must not have been interesting in my brain at the time.
So by the time I must have thought it was or something. Somehow it became.
It was a bigger deal for you than for me.
But I and then I
Just eating away at Ryan.
But the problem was at that same time, I would meet new people and I wouldn't tell that story. So there was like a good portion of people that didn't know I was the Canadian, and there was a portion of people that did. And I interacted with most of
Did
them.
you catch how he worded that?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a group of people that didn't know he was Canadian. He's still living the lie today.
Well, no, there was like a good portion of people that didn't know that, and there was a good portion that did.
That's
that
funny.
thought that, right?
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
So I didn't know who did that and who didn't. So I'm trying to memorize in my head who's in this web of lies and who's not. And and then when Matt said that to me, I remember I was sitting there. He says like, so you're like 30 years old, and I was like, I was like, what?
Jigs up.
And it was like, and then you kind of like, maybe we were drunk. I want to say
that
was
would
a drinking
explain a lot.
because I think it was the same night that we were
You're like
that
30
we
years
drove
old.
we were down in Southside and we came home.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense that I don't remember it then.
We were maybe
Oh.
that I don't remember, but I said it and I was like, no, I'm 27. What do you mean? I'm like 26 or whatever time, however old I was at the time. And he's like, well, no, because if you were in high school or if you were in Canadian high school at this time,
Canadian high school.
it's like you would have graduated. Did you either you got held back a bunch or you're 30 years old?
I'm really funny when I'm drunk.
I was like,
You
all right, I'm going to cut. And that was the moment where it broke. I was like, stop.
just stop.
It's time to knock. The game's over. I was like, game over. So I told you. And then your reaction to it was just like, how I've known you for how long? I said, it's like, I'm so sorry. If you hate me, man, we don't have to talk ever again. And you're like, no, it's funny. And then you just kept going. And we moved on to a new subject.
And that's when you knew we were friends.
I was
At
gonna
that point, I was just like, well, maybe it's okay to be honest.
Ryan learned a lesson. Oh my God, this is out of a sitcom.
But it's like one of the funniest.
I could picture this being a Seinfeld bit.
I've tried so hard to pretend that portion of my life didn't exist.
never happened.
But then I cut into situations like this where I realize it's so fun. It is a funny story.
It's
like
hilarious.
it's hilarious, but it's also like one of those stories that, like, to this day, I still don't know who I told that to and who I don't. So at this point, I don't even talk about it
You
anymore.
know, in like 3 years, someone's gonna come up to you and be like, "Hey, I was listening to your podcast. You're not actually Canadian,
Wait,
eh?"
I'm waiting.
Eh?
I'm waiting for like the hatred comments underneath it. Just be like, I was that girl from PTI. So
You introduced me to my husband. I thought I was being introduced to him by
My
a
life's a
Canadian.
lie.
We have a wonderful marriage, but now that you're not Canadian,
We're divorced.
little baby Jackie's not gonna have a mom to come home to.
You thought we'd get canceled because we don't like China. You thought we'd get canceled because we said something political.
So
No,
Ryan's a really
we
bad
get,
liar.
we get canceled because Ryan isn't Canadian.
Yep. If it makes you feel better, Ryan, I routinely try to convince people that I'm colorblind.
Why? I don't understand.
Because it's totally unprovable. All I have to say is I don't know what color because the first thing people will do is hold up something and say, "What color is this?" Be like, I don't know. Like
Slightly
like a-
darker gray.
yeah, no, I don't do that. I say like, I don't know. Like I know that's red over there, and this looks like it's similar, so I guess it's something red. Because that's actually how color. I know Drew's colorblind, Cole's colorblind. So I'll pay attention to how they respond to things like that, and I'll respond to it the same way.
Moral of the
There are
story is
definitely-
it's okay to lie
just
if
like
it doesn't
there-
hurt anyone.
Just like there are people out there that still think you're Canadian, There's people out there that think I'm colorblind.
That should be, we should add that if we ever become famous and they make Wikipedias of us, we should always go in and change it. Be like, he's from Canada. Or he's colorblind.
He's a Canadian American
I-
personality.
I messed with one friend one time in middle school and like joked that I was moving away and never coming back because like we were going too far away. And the next year, she actually moved. so I ever since then I was like, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not playing that game again.
At that point, which I guess
it was a prank too. Like it wasn't
in
even
middle school. We wouldn't have been old enough to have cell phones. Not like kids do these days.
I
should have the next year tried to gaslight her into thinking that you're the one that moved, and she's still where she started.
No, actually. Speaking of that, actually,
Like
I
the
didn't
whole
have
world moved around her, just her square foot state.
Yeah.
No, that was actually speaking of. I actually was in middle school, and my parents wouldn't get me a cell phone until there was almost a school shooting. And then when my parents thought I was at wrestling practice, and then like they sent everybody home on the bus, and like I walked in the door, and my dad was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh, there was a shooting threat." And like you got to understand, I always imagine I would be the person that panics in situations. I was sitting with my friends, and I was always friends with bigger guys because I was super small, and they all liked me because I wasn't a threat. So like it kind of worked. Like
You're
I got
like a shark in a Ramona.
well, yeah, it's like I
He's
get
like,
to,
yeah, he's the pet in.
Is that what it is?
In Finding Nemo, you mean?
No, the what are they called?
what?
What? I don't.
The,
Go on with your story.
anyway.
The fish that suck onto sharks.
Oh, thanks.
Remoras?
I don't know.
But so anyway, it was one of those
Remoras.
things where it's like I get to run my mouth, and they don't like that people don't like me, so it worked out. And so we were sitting in class, and it's our final period, and over the announcement loudspeaker, they go, "Can Mr. Red come to the cafeteria?" And like I immediately looked at my buddy and went, "There's no Mr. Red." And I was like, "This is great." And he also looked at me, and we both went, and we looked up, and our teacher kind of like, for those that are watching, I can actually make the face that she kind of went. So like it's like this what, and then it was like, oh no, like it was like this like, who's Mr. Red? Like it was like it was funny because like I picked up
it was
on it.
code for that.
It was, it was
Okay.
code for Code Red. And it was really funny because like I was like I watched my teacher like for a moment go, Mr. Red. Oh, that's a code. And like walked over to the door, shut it, locked it, pulled down the blind, and then walked into the back, grabbed a book, opened it up. And it's like this is like 2 minutes later now. And she comes over and goes, "Okay, everybody, I need you to get against a wall. And we're just gonna hang out." And so my
I
response to
argue that is not the best way.
No,
They
it's
should have
not.
just said
It's
that
not.
there might be a
So,
shooter. Please go against the wall.
in my class, I had two of the biggest guys in my class. So like, in that being said, they were probably like, they were done growing in 8th grade effectively. Me being the small guy, and like, I always thought I would be the person that panicked. I actually sat in the corner and sat with a plan with these guys. If anybody came through the door, one of them was throwing a desk, the other was tackling, and my job was to try and grab whatever weapon they had. So like we had a full plan. for
That's
what would
probably a
happen.
good thing because don't you guys would have practiced in the case of a school shooter.
We never
You-
practiced.
I didn't say because if that was just like
That was
practice,
just-
well now
well,
they're
that was-
giving the shooter.
Well,
no-
oddly enough,
like,
it was like all the kids that I
insider
was,
information.
well, all the kids that like I went to school with, like all of us kind of like it was like one of these things where we had a conversation after that where all of us were in the same boat where they were like, we're screwed anyway. Like, go for them.
Oh yeah,
Like, we're screwed. So like why would you just let it happen? And what ended up happening was there was two morons. So I live in a very hilly area. There was a couple hills over, which ended up being like a couple miles. They were shooting shotguns with slugs at a cardboard target.
okay.
It went through the target, and the drop came down right into our the window of our cafeteria.
Okay.
So the whole school was locked down for like 2 hours while they tried to figure out what was going on. They were looking to see where the shooter was. They couldn't find him. They thought maybe it was like something crazy.
He's a sniper on the hill.
It
just
was the
taking
last day before
children?
Christmas break too, and like, but they had no clue, and neither did the shooters because they were like, "We're just shooting at a cardboard target up in the woods, like it's going to hit a tree." Like they didn't mean anything by it either.
Yeah.
And,
Until one of those stray bullets hits a kid.
Yep. Well, we had double pane glass, so it shattered the first pane, but didn't have enough power to go through the second. Like that's how far away it was. Like it just happened to the angle. It just came right down into the cafeteria window, and I ended up getting home, and my dad was like, "I thought you were at wrestling practice," and like oddly enough, I was like super chill about it, like the whole time. And like I don't know if it's because like it didn't actually happen, but it was one of those things where it was like me and my buddies were like helping the other kids like calm down, and like they're like, "Hey, look, it's fine. We're gonna do our best no matter what happens."
How did we go from Ryan's a liar to shoot to Zach
we're going further.
Oh, okay.
You had your Mr. Red thing.
Yeah.
Maybe remember about Disneyland and all their secret codes. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about those?
Yeah.
Just
hand gestures.
Well, no, not just hand gestures. Like they'll call out things on the loudspeakers and stuff to alert staff to stuff and not guests. I'm gonna read a couple for you.
They have them.
So some of them aren't. Yeah, people know them.
Oh,
But some of them aren't codes. They're more phrases. So we'll start with this one. Have a Disney day. What do you think that means?
have a Disney day. Oh boy.
Everyone gets canceled.
And now, for clarity,
Start
this is something
firing
just
your employees.
individual staff members might say to you.
Have a Disney day.
Telling me to start firing my employees.
I was gonna say, they're really telling you to. Well, can I say it on the podcast?
No.
Okay.
To buzz off.
I was gonna say they're telling you to do something that's anatomically impossible.
Yeah, that's basically it.
What?
When you hear someone tell you to have a Disney day, the staff's subtle way of saying you're annoying me.
I feel like that's a big
this
implication.
one's easy.
Now I'm gonna print these off and take these with me. And my goal when I go to Disney is not to even go enjoy the park. I'm gonna go to every employee and try to get play
them.
like bingo, like
Or ask them if they're friends with Mickey.
Disney code.
This one's easy. Code V.
There's not a Virgin on
There-
site anymore.
like-
I don't know. It's,
Like
I don't know.
like code V. Like that sounds very.
It's
How many-
Valentine's Day.
How many words start with V that might require a
Victory.
theme park to alert
Vasectomy.
staff? Keep going. It's not those.
Vegetarian.
No, close.
Vicious.
Nope, further.
Vegan. There's
No.
vegans on site.
You guys are getting closer.
Velma.
No.
We're out.
How many things that start with V could the theme park possibly want to alert its staff about?
High voltage.
No.
Oh, that one made sense.
Vaginas.
No. Good try though.
What is it?
Vomit.
Oh, that makes
That's
sense.
it?
It's a kid throws up. Yeah.
What do? They just walk up to the people.
Means
They
there's a pile of something that needs to be cleaned up.
just walk up to the person like, "Hey, heads up."
Lost adult.
Lost child.
They can't find it. They can't find the. They found a lost child. Can't find its parent.
Zach was closer. It is just lost child, but they don't want to make people panic.
Oh yeah.
And so they frame it where they found the kid. They don't know where the adults are. Kind of clever.
Okay. Just taken, but
I want to
reversed.
save this one
Yeah,
for last.
yeah, that helps a lot when there's somebody running with the kid through the gate.
This one's boring. I was going to say this. Code 101 and Code 102, they're just ride turned off, ride turned on.
Okay.
Just so people don't
Aw.
stampede to.
I was gonna say-
Because people might hear, this ride has been reopened and stampede to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
White powder alert.
Oh, that. Ooh.
What do you think it is?
Man, you mishear that one. It's gonna be a problem.
I feel like it's not gonna be cocaine, but it's one of those things where it's like, why
We're
on
out of
earth-
sugar.
Are you saying cocaine now to have it ruled out?
We're out of sugar,
No.
or they're out of flour for the
Cane
Nope.
cupcakes.
Pablo Escobar's on site.
No. I thought we said we were not doing cocaine.
What is it?
It is an alert that someone in the park somewhere is intending to spread someone's ashes.
I'm sorry.
What?
With so many people emotionally attached to the memories they have made in the magical kingdom, it is often the desired resting place of deceased fans. Spreading ashes in the park is completely illegal, and if they are scattered on a ride, apparently the ride needs to be closed, and the guests need to be evacuated while a cast member in protective clothing vacuums the remains.
Yeah, no wonder, because you're inhaling someone's
Yeah.
ashes.
Yeah, it turns out that people have a problem with you throwing people on them.
That's as bad as like making
I'm
like
sorry.
the old
I
South Park
love the
joke.
intro to this thing too, because this is an article that talks about these. Their intro to White Powder Alert it is, this does not mean that the Magic Kingdom has descended into a drug-fueled party.
It's like I feel like
I'm
that's
just
a
saying, you
terrible
mishear
code.
that. That's probably if that's an some other words, probably means Disney's back to life. Walt Disney came back.
Ooh, there you go.
You try to think about it.
Speaking of
today's
white
world-
powder alert,
Oh, cocaine bear.
we don't have much time, so be good.
So
There was a phenomenal
be funny.
transition, and it was
be funny. I don't know, man. I think I was pretty funny earlier.
It's a cool story. The Pablo Escobar.
Pablo
That's what
Escobar.
it is. So Elizabeth Banks,
Yes.
famous for
Something.
other films.
Movies.
She was given a project by Warner Brothers, and it's set to show in 2022, and it's based on. There's no details quite yet, but they believe it's going to be based on the story of the Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
So far it might be just called the Cocaine Bear. If you're wondering what the Cocaine Bear is, the Cocaine Bear was briefly famous in 1985. It was found dead after eating roughly $15 million worth of coke from a duffel bag that was dropped from a drug smuggler's airplane. The smuggler, Andrew Carter Thornton II,
Yeah.
was the wealthy of an elite Kentucky horse breeding family, according to a display in Georgia Bureau of Investigation headquarters. Famous for exhibiting the monkey from Mars. Wow, there's just so many links to just keep getting deeper.
I mean, the gist of the story is that this guy was a drug smuggler, had to jump out of a plane to deliver the drugs, and his parachute didn't open, so he scattered himself and hundreds of pounds of cocaine all over Kentucky. And the police found the body and most of the coke, but not all of it. And then they eventually found a dead bear that had found it and had eaten all of it.
I like
and
how
That's so
believe it or
funny.
not, eating 75 pounds of cocaine kills bears.
yeah.
So if you got a bear problem,
The Banks will direct Cocaine Bear and could possibly appear in it, though the true story centers around a man and a bear wrapped up in a cocaine smuggling mission gone wrong. The bear who was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
yes, if you have a bear terrorizing your neighborhood, all you do is dig around the couch cushions, find spare $15 million, buy 75 pounds of cocaine, and leave it out for the bear. Easy peasy.
You want to... I brought bear jokes. Like bear mace.
You're
The
unbearable, dude.
ultimate weapon.
Cool.
These are the simple bear necessities, my friend.
Okay.
You want bear jokes? You want
Sure,
some?
give me some bear.
These are gonna
Bear
be-
yourself to me.
Oh boy. Why did Mother
Curse my
Nature make
visual brain.
Why did Mother Nature make only one Yogi Bear?
I don't know,
there's
Ryan.
only-
Why did Mother Nature only make one Yogi Bear?
Also, this is a weird way to phrase this.
'Cause
The
there's only one boo-boo?
punchline. Because when he tried to make a second one, he made a boo boo.
yeah. Hey, boo boo.
Yeah, but it said like, why did Mother Nature? And then they call Mother Nature a he, which is weird.
Oh.
Are you
Yeah. But
assuming
no, they're talking
Mother
about-
Nature's gender?
What do you call a bear with no teeth?
I don't know, Ryan. What do you call a
Gummy?
bear with no teeth?
A gummy bear.
Ha!
I called it.
I get it, because if you don't have teeth, all you have in your mouth are exposed gums. So that if he chews on something, he's gumming it. So like gummy bear. I got it.
Man.
Yeah, okay,
Imagine
good
being
job.
gummed to death by a bear.
Oh,
Why did the bear cross the road?
to get to the other side.
Nope, it was the chicken's day off.
I was gonna say because bears have no concept of roads.
Okay.
Why they're there.
Thanks, Ryan.
What do you call a bear without ears?
Whatever you want.
Deaf.
I can't hear you.
You just call it a bees. Bees.
The letter B.
Yeah.
Just called a bee.
I like my answer better.
Why did Tigger look in the toilet?
Well, that one's obvious.
I don't know.
Do you want to give it? What do you think?
Oh,
look for poo.
Yep, he was looking for poo.
Uh,
What is a what is as big as a bear but weighs nothing?
an equivalent volume of air.
I mean, technically you're right,
But weighs
but
nothing.
it's shadow.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
At a specific time of day, maybe.
This one's so stupid.
Did you screen these ahead of time?
Yes. What do you call a grizzly bear in a phone booth? Stuck.
Doctor Who.
Oh, I was gonna say my dad.
Jesus. Jeez. What do you call a bear that jumps but never lands?
A land?
Air bear.
Peter Panda.
Oh, all right. You have one chance. You have one chance to redeem yourself, and if your next joke doesn't slap, you're canceled.
Oh,
This one better slap.
How do bears travel when they go on vacation?
Ryan, how do bears travel when they go on vacation?
A barroplane.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I've been Matt. If you want to hear more if you want to find our show, you can go to follow us on social media and stuff
Barroplane.
at
Get it?
Pop Culture Unboxing. And also tell your friends about us because they need this in their life. If you want to find me personally, go to Twitter at Matt Ross VO. I don't have Facebook because and also Twitch whenever I'm on it. Jan Jinkle. Zach.
Oh, you can find me at Little Leaf _Leaf LIEF. That underscore is important. I am not a middle-aged Brazilian woman.
Despite being named Jessica.
Yes.
Find me at Red Steak Ryan. Twitter, Instagram, and I think Twitch.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks for listening.
You don't want
everybody.
one more bear joke?
No.
You sure?
No.
Come on, one more.
I'll be honest.
Listen, I couldn't bear it.
I've been trying to think of a way to fit.
bear
I've been trying to think of a way to fit Ursine into a joke here, and I just couldn't make it happen.
How did the grizzly bear walk on this? How does a grizzly bear walk in the snow?
Carefully.
Barefooted.
Bye, everyone. I love you, but not Ryan.